So good afternoon, we're here with ClassicLine Insurance with Jack Rawles of Bill Rawles Classic Cars. Hi Jack.
Hiya.
Hiya. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the Rawles family business?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Jack Rawles. I'm the youngest of three sons. It's certainly a family business, Bill Rawles Classic Cars, with my mum and my dad strongly at the helm, and then myself and my middle brother Charlie working with the team of about 12 guys in the workshop. I front up the sales and some of the customer relations, and then it's backed up by a team of really skilled engineers.
Sounds great. Sounds a good operation you've got going.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, it's been sort of growing from strength to strength over the past few years. Around 30 years ago, my father set up a company called Rawles Motorsport, which he's now sold and we have no connection to. And then 10 years ago, he was going to retire, but he just couldn't. So it's got busier and busier, and now we've added sales and a lot more motorsport into the business as well.
Oh, it sounds excellent.
Yeah, it's very good.
Lovely. So here at the London Classic Car Show today, you've got 3 fantastic cars on display. Do you want to just briefly introduce us to what you've got here?
Yeah, so we've got over in the far corner, we've got a 100S recreation. So we had a client come to us that was looking to get a 100S. There was no real ones on the market at that time, and they're very expensive. So he asked us if he'd commission a build to create an exact recreation of a 100S. Fortunately, we look after a real one, so we were able to take the photos and all the dimensions and make a like-for-like copy of the real thing, which you can see on the stand today.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Really gorgeous.
And the customer also uses it on many track days at Goodwood and takes it out around London where he lives.
Oh, excellent. So. That's the best bit.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Lovely.
We've also got a 3000 Mark III on the stand, which is for sale, and this really nice Austin Healey Frog Eye Sprite. It's only done 41,000 miles from new. It was owned by an Oxford University student, bought for him in 1958. So it's quite a special little car, very original and very honest.
Very nice, lovely story as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Great, fantastic. So what's the next show that you guys are heading to? Where can people see 100S next?
So we don't do a huge amount of shows. We are extremely busy and we just like to select a few. The next one will probably be Goodwood.
Okay.
We'll be exhibiting at Goodwood. We have a very large stand there now, and we've also partnered up with a couple of suppliers and partners to create an even larger presence there. So that's be the next place you can see us.
Lovely, brilliant. Hopefully catch up with you again soon.
Yeah, of course.
So Bill Rawles has become somewhat of an internet sensation recently with these mechanical and bodywork videos online. How did this concept come about?
Yeah, so for quite a few years now, or early on, we jumped into the Facebook marketing page, and predominantly run by my mum, Rose. She does a lot of the content for the social media, and it was just one of those things really where he was doing a video, or he was doing an engine build, and said, "Why don't you come and film this?" And it's all very impromptu and no scripting involved, so it's just really taken off. Yeah.
That's great. Obviously, he's always got a cup of tea in the shop.
Yep.
Tell us, how does Bill take his tea?
He likes it white with no sugar and quite milky.
Oh, there we go. So Jack, you may have only recently joined the family business, but you're better known for your racing career. You started go-karting back in 2011, progressed on to the Ginetta Junior Championship, and at one stage you've even been labelled as one to watch by an ITV commentator. How did that make you feel?
Yeah, excellent. I mean, I started racing at just 14, well before that in go-karts, but then I moved into Ginetta Junior Series, and it's always been something I've wanted to do. But then looking at the historic racing after my modern racing career, if you like to call it a career, I found great success in racing historic race cars, and especially Austin Healeys.
So what's been the highlight of your career so far, would you say, or maybe the biggest influence in your career?
Yeah, so I think there was sort of one poignant moment that I remember. So I'd done the Ginetta Juniors for 2 years, which is extremely intense but a fantastic learning platform, and then it came to my first Healey race, and having watched my dad grow, while I was growing up racing Healeys, it was kind of like, am I actually going to be any good at this, and quite a legacy to Phil as well, because he'd done a lot of racing and he's been very successful, and so every year we have a Healey race which is full of people that race Healeys all the time, and it's hugely competitive. We turned up at Castle Combe, we'd done a bit of testing before. I was really hoping for a top 10 finish, and in qualifying I qualified by 1,000th on pole. in my first ever qualifying session against people like David Grace, who is a 5-time British hill climb champion, who subsequently asked me to race his car.
Yes.
And then in that first race, it went well. I dropped to second and followed David to the line. The following year, I came back and it was in the wet, and I won the race, both races.
Oh, fantastic. Well done.
Yeah, so I think that's probably the best moment.
Yeah.
More recently, we've had great success at Portimao in Portugal, where we set the lap record, and Zandvoort last year in 2017, we set the lap record as well, and finished second to Jeremy Welsh, who, if you know Healey racing, Jeremy Welsh is basically the guy to beat.
Excellent. Well,
Yeah.
well done.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sounds like you're doing really well.
Yeah.
So have you had any hairy moments that actually turned out okay?
Yeah, of course, every race has a hairy moment. I mean, it's about being respectful to the car, but also, driving it as quickly as you can. You get to a point with a race car when actually you're driving it so fast, everything's sort of working together, and it
Yes.
almost slows down and becomes easier to drive.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great. So, given your passion for motorsport and classic cars, what's your view on autonomous driving?
I think it's
It's
a very difficult thing to
Yeah.
think about. There's obviously multifactorial with incident management. What happens, you haven't got that personal touch. I think it's exciting though to see how things will develop, and there's certainly a need for more electric cars and maybe more autonomous driving, which would help with motorway congestion and all that kind of stuff. As long as it doesn't affect classic cars
Yes.
and the industry we're in, because
Yeah.
it is a massive industry.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So, if you could drive any car, what would you choose? Money, no object.
Yeah, I often think about this one, and I forget the DB4 Zagato, Aston Martin, but I do like ISO Griffo Bizzarini. That's my favourite car.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, what's next? Are you allowed to say in terms of your racing career?
Yeah, we've got some exciting stuff coming up this year. Firstly, we'll be racing with Equipped GTS in their pre-63 class. I've got some great sponsors this year as well with Talk Racewear, our suits here at this show today. So yeah, hopefully we'll do some Equipped racing, and then maybe around Europe, Spa, Portimao, if we're lucky. But
Fantastic.
yeah, any race I get, I'm thankful for.
Oh,
so,
brilliant. Well,
yeah.
Jack, thank you very much for meeting with us.
No problem.
All the best from ClassicLine Insurance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.